volume going? Oh, hey y'all. I had to hop off. I tried to go live earlier on my phone, but I had to hop off because I had washed my hair and my hair had wet up my dress, which I was not happy about. But I like to air dry my hair and not blow dry it because I think that harms the hair more than helps. Aziza, what you want to watch? I mean, Marley, what you want to watch? Shock Dog? Ninja? Space Jungle? Okay, Charlie? Then what, honey? Ninja? So she woke up too, and so then I had to get her situated because what else I'm gonna do, right? So I just been like really feeling overwhelmed a little bit because I need to get this podcast up. We figured out, for those you don't know, I'm gonna be co-hosting a podcast with one of my best friends, and it's gonna be about healing, which I love to talk about. But it's been very overwhelming because we're doing the recording. That's the easy part, right? But then we was trying to figure out like hosting sites and all of that stuff, right? Which is a lot. It was a lot. It's a lot to figure out who to pay, why to pay them. Okay. Calm down. You don't have to react like that. Which one do you want? This one? You just want to watch this over and over? Okay. So figuring out, the process and everything, and we're making the best of what we're, making sure that, it gets out there in a good way. And, it's interesting. And this is something that I wanted to do for a very long time. Peace, y'all. Everybody walking in, which was create a space where I could talk about healing with somebody else who has similar but not completely aligned ideals as me. She and I have different understandings of the world, and sometimes they clash when we're talking. But I like that. I can be friends with someone who sees things differently than I see things. And so, we can hash it out. And I think that's what makes the podcast a good space for us. And so I'm excited about that. The podcast is called sometimes when y'all talk, especially like when you're constantly talking, like I feel like I'm always talking now, whereas before I didn't talk a lot. So I feel like my tongue is like super lazy. But when you talk, do you feel like you're hearing the word come out of your ears one way, but you're saying it another way? It's like a weird feeling. What do you want to watch? What, Biff? So, yeah, and hearing yourself constantly, I have to listen to so much of the playback and edit because I'm the person who's doing all of that because she has like a full-time job and also doesn't know how to do all of that. So it's, my strength. So that's the part of the work that I get to do other than recording is I'm editing hours of us talking and Um, yeah, at that part. So hopefully in the next 2 weeks, we'll have it up and you guys can access it on Apple and Spotify and all of those places that podcasts tend to go to because that's what we'll do. But I'm excited, but I'm overwhelmed too. Like at the same time, it's like one more thing is on my plate. I teach yoga. I have a jewelry business. I do healing workshops with women, and then I add this on. And don't forget, I have 3 children and a husband, so it's a lot. Bonafide said that's the key: disagreeing without being disagreeable, maintaining respect for one another despite having differences. Yes, yes, of course. I feel like we should. Honestly, I think life is way more interesting when people don't agree with you about every single thing. It's like, you know, it feels good to have a point, to talk about. Um, and a place to get to of where I can see the other person's side, you know what I'm saying? And it makes me understand the world a bit more from someone else's perspective, versus always inserting myself into things, which I really, have a hard time um, not doing because I do so much healing work. So I really like that part, that rest. It's a huge rest. Honestly, it's very that since we've been recording, that's been a huge respite for me where like I get to just chill. I can still have my input and everything, but like I don't have to be like on it, on it, on it, on it, on it. Whereas with your own healing work, I find for me, um, my personality type is the type that goes directly at something and then hammers away at it. So that can be kind of exhausting, honestly, because I don't think a lot of people have that type of focus in life. Like that's not, And so, because when I talk to people, and they're like, man, you just be going all hard and you just do things like all the time. You just go so hard all the time. You want to do it again? Um, and this friend is particularly one of those people. She's like, man, I hate doing stuff like alongside you because I feel like I have to rush. And I'm just like, it's not that. It's just that my energy is very direct. And so when I begin a task, I like to complete it and I put all of my energy into it. And that's how I am with my life. I'm very, you know, that way. Hey, thank you, Samadi. I appreciate the well wishes from all of you guys. Yeah, I'm super excited to be doing something new. Bonafide said, I enjoy interacting with people who hold various perspectives. It expands my horizons and allows me to continue to grow. Yes, that's the part, right? And I love picking people's brains because it gives me an idea of like how things work in other people's heads. You know what I mean? So like even with my partner, like we don't see everything the same, you know what I mean? Like it's not a clash, but it's not a connect. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's there. And so when he's explaining something to me, and he's super super passionate person as well. So like when he's explaining something to me, I'm like, okay, 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 and I can feel all his energy behind whatever he's focused on. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's interesting to watch that. You know vibrancy, that stuff, to come to life in someone else, because I totally have moments like that with my children all the time. Like they are always like grasping information and putting it together. And normally when I go get them from school, I didn't have to go get them today. Their dad went and got them. So normally when I would go get them from school, they're like so excited and get in the car and they're telling me all these things and they're breaking it down in their head and how it worked out for them. And I'm asking them, why do they think these things and who told them, like to see if they got outside perspective of what they're formulating and everything. The other day, my son said something and I was like, oh, how do I approach this? Because he said that it was a little girl in his class, and she was chasing another little boy, and that an adult and another kid, an older kid, said that she liked that little boy, and that's why she was chasing him and trying to hit him. And so I was like, well, how did you come up with, he was saying it. He was like, she's chasing him. She loved him. That's why she was trying to hit him. And I was like, how did you come up with that? And he was like, well, that's what such and such, Miss such and such said. And that's what such and such said. And I was like, well, what do you think it is? And he was like, I thought she just wanted to play with him. And I was like, yeah, that's what it sounds like to me. You know what I mean? Just trying to get them to shed like things that other people might put in their space. Because it does happen. And, a lot of times, a lot of our beliefs aren't ours. A lot of our understandings aren't ours, right? So just getting him to the root of like, what do you think? How did you see the situation? And letting him feel comfortable in that instead of letting another person override his thought process, which is huge for me. And I try to do that myself with them. I try not to say, oh, this is how something is, or that is how this is, or whatever. I ask them, how do you think this works? Or why do you think I did this way? Or how would you do it XYZ? Just trying to get them to expand their way of seeing the world and thinking and interacting with the world at large, because I wasn't allowed to have opinions as a kid or to even voice them or think them in any way. And I think that stunted me a lot because I had a lot of opinions. And I think that stunted me a lot because I really probably would have been able to formulate some interesting ideas and stay focused in a certain kind of way. Hey, everybody joining. Focus sounds like you are driven too. I am very driven. It's it's a very interesting way of being. So you eat M&Ms, but you eat chocolate. What kind of chocolate? One of my friends just texted me. And it sometimes it can be overwhelming for other people. I think that I try to get most of my sleep. I'm a good sleeper. Like 9:30, 10 o'clock, I'm in the bed, and I wake up about 6:30, 7 a.m. and I go walking. But I do everything I can while I'm awake. Unless I'm just, tired or I have a lot to do with my kids and they need my attention more than I can do for myself, which is by being with them, I am helping myself because I'm helping them develop. So yeah, I think it can be very interesting in a relationship too, because like sometimes it doesn't allow for me to have what do you call that, downtime or like like fun in a certain kind of way because I'm so like hyper focused on what I want to create. And I don't tend to participate in things that don't have a that don't have end game. And that's really difficult in relationships, especially friendships and close relationships, because people like to just do stuff, right? And I don't, that's why, I do yoga. I wind down in my creativity. I paint, I make jewelry. Those are my wind down times. Those are my times where I'm like, not so over focused and everything. But like when I'm like business, it's a really interesting thing. And I think that has to do with my chart placement. I don't know how many of you are into astrology. But my Jupiter is in Gemini. Bonafide said, I believe that the most successful couples are those who learn to expect to respect, accept, and embrace each other's minor differences while always focusing on why they united in love. Yes, I like that. I do think that is a way to be a successful couple. Yes. I think that's one thing I think with Kenny and I, it's like it's always like, why are we here? Why did we choose to show up for each other in this way? Because when I met Kenny, I met three Kennys in a row before I met Kenny. I met him at three different stages in his life in three different bodies, right? Like, and so when I met the final Kenny, the Kenny that I would entertain, I knew the difference between him and the three Kenny before. Their names weren't Kenny, but I'm calling them Kennys. They had all very similar placements, very similar ways of being, similar things in common. It's just the difference was that when I met him, his focus, he was very clear about what he wanted out of life. He was very clear about peace. He was very clear about who he wanted to be, like what his end game was, and why he was here. The other three were not that clear. They were still in there. I'm having a good time phase. I'm having fun type thing. And I told them, hold on. Oh, back cooking food. I told them when we were dating that, we would just be dating because I knew that they didn't have a feeling of permanence. Like, you have been around somebody and they feel very flighty, they feel very up, very all over the place. And that was okay because at that point in my life, I wasn't really looking for anything super stable. I was like finishing up this divorce that I was going through and trying to figure out how I was going to be a single parent. Like that was a huge thing, like changing my life prior to that, prior to getting divorced. I had no kids. I came into the marriage, we had kids together, and then we ended the marriage. So then I had a whole new life that I didn't have. Oh, thank you, Damon. That is so sweet. I get what you're saying. And I think that is a part of it, right? We're all supposed to grow at our different rate. Damon said, well, I'm grateful you were stifled as a child to a degree because we may not have gotten this version of the light that we all look forward to and learn from so much. I appreciate you. But I agree, right? Like our journeys are supposed to be the way they're supposed to be, right? If I had and I think like that too. If I had gotten certain things as a kid or went a certain track, I might not have been this evolved spiritually, honestly. Because my whole thing when I was a kid, I was gonna go in the Air Force, I was gonna fly planes, and I was not gonna be around anybody in my family ever again. That's oh my God, that was my mantra. Like I was like, I knew my track, like everything I had like music scholarships. I had so much lined up. I just knew that I was just going to be like, I'm never going to talk to anybody I know from my childhood again. I'm just going to act like I don't even know any of these people. I really did feel like that. So I think that life does end up serving you the cup that from the place that you're supposed to get it, right? Do I have any 10-minute yoga videos? I probably have some under 10 or a little over 10. I'll do my best to make some shorter ones. It's just when I get on, right? I have intention to hop on, do my yoga really quick and then get off. But the yoga teacher in me will not let me just give like one or two poses. It's like, okay, I need to set up this whole thing. So I have been trying to practice making shorter videos because I do know that it is a lot to hop on and go through a whole 30, 45-minute session. But I do think I have some that are hip opening and morning yoga that are less than 10 minutes or at least 15 minutes. Yeah, that I made in the beginning of my teacher journey when I was still learning how to tell people how to be in their bodies. So I need to remake some of those. But yeah, I'm still getting the hang of this YouTube thing. It's a lot. It's an interesting world. YouTube is. It's very different than Instagram. Very different than TikTok. Very different than Facebook. It's not like any other place because you don't know what you're going to get on here. Anybody could see you on here, right? Whereas Instagram and TikTok is kind of like they kind of like cater the experience to you. So like if you look at a certain amount of things on there, then you're only going to see the things. You kind of have to go out of your way to see things that you wouldn't normally see on those apps. Whereas here you can just type in anything you want and see whatever you want to see. So it's totally just have to rework your mind every time you sign on to here. But I do love this feature the best though, just like hopping on and chatting. Okay. Just hopping on and chatting. Like I love this the best, honestly, more than anything. Because I feel like I get to connect with some of the people who I see on my page a lot, and I like that. I like that I get to connect with people, and that feels similar to Instagram and TikTok in that way, where I get to talk to the people who I normally talk to throughout the app. Word. Imagine being the first adoption in NYC and nobody quite knowing how to adjust to that situation. I know about learning to reintroduce yourself to yourself as an adult. Oh my God, Damon. That is a lot. Yeah, buddy. And you're here and you're thriving. Yeah, the system does a huge. I can't even imagine what year was that. Sometimes our bona fide said, sometimes our pain in our path leads to our progression. The trials and tribulations of life can be like fire and hammer, forming the proverbial swords that we will eventually become. Yes, you are very poetic. Do you write? You should be writing, sir. You should be, and you should be talking. Um, yeah, you should have a space where people can hear what you say, because a lot of times what you share, honestly, it's very good and it's very like enlightening, and I think that um people would okay, that people would benefit from a solid voice. I don't think there's enough of them. I see some wild stuff, and especially on this app, on YouTube, you're liable to run into anything. Like people say anything on here. I mean anything. And I do my best not to be judgmental, but it'd be some wild stuff. I'd be like, oh my, clutching my imaginary pearls. Um, but yeah, you should definitely think about that. I think you would be awesome at that bona fide. Awesome. And I don't think there's never enough space. There's never enough people doing a good thing. I the more One thing I'm learning in my spiritual journey that I didn't want to believe when I first started this was that there are some people who are here who are not technically for the wellness of the space. For a long time, I used to think everybody was good, and it really like was my Achilles heel. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I really would be shocked, like when people would show up and be like, ha ha. Damon said, I'm 52 now, and although there are many opinions of how it should be, nobody can understand your spirit better than you. You got that right, buddy. You got that right. You got that right. And nobody knows what you're dealing with and who you're seeing when you're by yourself. Like, And I think that that's the thing, right? The bravery to live out loud, and not technically, you don't have to like make videos about it, but to be yourself in this world is such a big deal because so many people have a hard time doing that. They have a hard time standing in their authenticity. No, I understood in 1983 your open adoption. Yes. I hope that you know that if there's anything that needs to be healed from, that it is working its way through. And 1983, oh Lord, those were some years. Hmm. I'm going 83, 70. I was born in 77, so we're at 78, 79, 80, 78, 79, 80, 81. All right, so yeah, 81 was the first year I entered foster care. And I came back. Uh oh my God, Bonafide. He said that you appreciate the kind words, Queen. I've thought about writing a series of novels about futuristic utopian land forged out of desperation and dystopian world. So, okay, I started writing something similar to this idea, and I'm having a hard time, right? Because you know when you're writing, you got to make you writing about something futuristic and doesn't or fantasy. You can write whatever you want, right? It don't exist. It exists in your mind. You know, it exists because it exists in your mind. But writing, like I love it, and I think you should do that. I think you should do that. There's not enough black sci-fi, honestly. Octavia Butler is like, I know I'm all over the place on this because I'm like responding to y'all, but Octavia Butler is like my shiro of sheroes, and she wrote all of these amazing sci-fi books. Um, hold on. It's hot, okay? Yeah. I had to make the kids some ramen. You want the dancing? So, yeah, oh my God. So, Octavia Butler was like amazing. If you don't have her book, I don't know if you should read if you're going to write. I have a hard time. I'm looking for a book. I have a hard time. Okay, here's one of hers. This is one of hers. I don't know if you can see it. It's so much glare. But this the Parable of the Talents. She has so many series. Oh my God, I love her so much. My favorite book of hers is this. This is my favorite book of hers. And there's series. This is the Talents. This is of the Exogenesis series. She has created like such a amazingly deep and transformative world. Like it's like in each of these series is so magnificent. Like, and that's why I think I have a hard time writing a book, a sci-fi book, is because I've read hers and I'm like, oh my gosh, she's so dope. You know, like how can I write something, right? Also, I like Nilo Hopkinson and trying to think of the other person I like sci-fi that's black. I really love sci-fi period, and I read almost anyone's sci-fi, but I really love to see which one. You want to see that one? The Cottontail Ninja? Oh. Which one? This one? My kid. Up now. You let me go past it? Down? Yeah. All right. So yeah, trying to think of that. What did Damon say? I think Bonafide will win in general because the words you use draw and bring some imagination up. Yes, I think so too. I think you could do anything, honestly. Like even a book of prose at this point, because like you always come with the knowledge and drop it, like for real. Or quotes. Here, Pooh. But yeah, I'm like the last holdout of book collectors. I heard about Wealthy. Oh, that's one of my favorites too. I would love to read that book. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. Oh my God, you have got to read Wealthy. I got that in there somewhere too. Like I have all her books. I have every last one. Like there's just and I mean the books like in your hand. Like I have now I stopped collecting books because I don't have anywhere to put them. And they're hard to move. Like I move and I have to move like 8 boxes of books, and I'm so attached to my books. I don't want to get rid of them, even though I've read them all. It's kind of like insanity. But books like really mean a lot to me, and they save my life a lot of times. Like when I, had a lot of life to experience, and I had to do a lot of things by myself. All I had was my books. I remember I would at one point, and this is how I got so many books. I would just find the author that I liked, and I would read everything they wrote. I wouldn't care what it was. Just read it. Every book. And so then I just started owning all these books, and now I have all these books. What am I going to do with them? I don't know. Probably donate them to a library or something, because who needs all these books? But I'm going to keep Octavia Butler books, because that and my Toni Morrison books, my Alice Walker books, and my J. California Cooper books. Okay, I don't know if I'm going to give my books away. I might not be telling the truth right now. But yeah, I just wanted to hop on here and chat with y'all, because I tried to get on earlier and had my whole wet hair debacle, and have the kind of hair that you gotta wash once a week in order for it to stay clean and not be disgusting. So it gets like super oily, even though I don't put oil in it. I produce my own oil. But yeah, that's a whole nother life. So yeah, you guys, I'm gonna hop off here, and if we don't have nothing else to talk about, again, look for the, what do you call it? Jeez, I was talking about something. Go ahead, Damon. What was I talking about? Podcast at the beginning. Yeah, look forward to the podcast. I'll start posting about it more as I get these episodes up, because that's what's next on the horizon. It's like I'm always on to something next. When did your creative side take over your stifled side? Oh God. So I think I was okay. I'm gonna tell you what happened. So I had cervical cancer. I know it's like I have the wildest, most interesting life, right? But I had cervical cancer, and I had a bunch of surgeries, and the last surgery, I went to like a paint and sip. You know those things? Um, yeah. So a paint and sip, and it was fun. It was like a celebration of me having to, because this was the surgery that was going to decide whether, my doctor was like, we can do this one more thing, and if this works, you'll most likely be cancer free. If this doesn't work, then we'll have to talk about hysterectomy. I think I was like 30, and I went to this paint and sip, and I it was so like relaxing. And I had so much anxiety about the surgery, and I was just so worried and worried and worried. And I enjoyed myself so much. I went out and I bought a bunch of raw canvas, like just raw canvas and paint and all of that stuff. And I just started painting on my apartment floor, like putting cardboard under the canvas. I didn't have an easel or anything, and just started painting, painting, painting. I still have those paintings to this day. I've painted until the day of the surgery. And when I came out of the surgery, and I went back like every month for like a year, I just kept painting. And then at the end of that year, after having negative, no cancer for that whole year, not being found, um, like I just never stopped. Like it was like something about losing the ability to create made me create, if that makes sense. Like possibly losing the ability to create more life um made me want to create something that couldn't be taken away from me. And so I started painting. I wrote my first book, and I had an art show. um I was doing really groovy artist shit. And I just never, I'm not gonna say I never stopped. When I got married, my husband had a lot of expectations of me, and I let those take over, and I kind of dulled down my creativity again. And but when we started going through our divorce, I remembered that that's what had pulled me through that cancer. And so I pulled back out my paints, and that's when I started making jewelry, and I wrote another book, and everything started to tumble out of me. And that's why I go so hard at it, because the last time I gave it up for someone that I loved, and I don't think they got what I was giving up. And so now I refuse to give it up ever again, because I realized that I need it. You know what I mean? Even if Kenny didn't get it, which he totally gets it. He supports me being home, doing it full time. Um, I would do it. You know what I mean? Like I would do it. Like I made 4 sets of waist beads last night. I stayed up till my eyes were like closing. But the joy that I felt when I got up from this table, like about creating something, not only with my hands, but B, that was healing. I knew that I know what I'm doing when I create jewelry. I know why I'm creating it. I can imagine the person who's going to wear it. I don't know exactly what they look like, but I know what they feel like. I know who needs this healing. I know who needs this thing that I'm making. Even when I paint, I'm feeling like that. I'm like, like that lady on the wall back there, I painted her. And I'm creating from a space of, like the well of, the universe. You're pulling out the energy that is coming to you, and you're putting it into something. So yeah. I say just try several things. Don't get stuck on one thing. I paint, I crochet, I make jewelry. Like I do everything that I can. But some things I realize are not for sale. Like I used to sell crochet when I first started crocheting because I thought everything had to be turned into a business. But now I don't sell crochet because it's really personal to me. It's really personal for me to make something that someone's, like a hat or scarves or gloves. So I make them for my children. I make them for me. I make them for my partners and my family. I make blankets for them. Like all my kids have their own personal blankets. I have a blanket for my bed, like stuff like that. Things that I like to, offer to people. Yeah, I did that. I want to say it was during the pandemic. I was trying to, I had never created an Afro painting. I'd done a lot of lock paintings, but I had never created an Afro painting. I wanted to do that for myself. So yeah, I just keep trying different things because something will come up. Like everything led me to the next thing. You know what I mean? Like even like this now, like yoga and healing and all that stuff, like being a counselor all this time led me to a podcast. Everything leads into the next thing. So yeah, peace, everybody coming in. But yeah, I think that we all have unlimited potential. We're only using what? I think it's like 20% of our brain. It might not even be that much. I think the people who are high functioning are using like 20% of their brains, and then the rest of us are using like 8. So, we have so much potential to tap into, and that's why I don't get discouraged by somebody doing something that I'm doing. Like a lot of people will be like, "Oh, I don't want to do that because XYZ is doing that or whatever." But they're not you. They don't have what you bring to that thing. So it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Do it. It's not saying that that's going to be the thing, but that thing could unleash or unlock something in you that you need to tap into, but you wouldn't have known unless you started doing that thing, I wouldn't have known that I could crochet or make jewelry if I hadn't started painting. Now, do I sell paintings? No. But I can paint. Yeah. But well, I don't even know if they have those things anymore with this virus going around. What you want to watch, Boo? No, don't play with my don't play with that. I don't want you to play with that. I know. You finished eating? Which one you want to watch, my love? Marley Parley. You want to watch the pizza? Where's the pizza? Okay. Okay. She can be very vocal sometimes. Thank you, Kadir. I feel like I could be a very nice person sometimes. I have the capabilities. I think so. Um, but yeah, yeah. I don't know. Like, I think we all just get to tap in and listen, right? And we do it in various ways. I have a lot of people who always want to um, know about yoga, and I always tell them, try it. It might not be your thing. You might need a movement, but yoga might not be your movement. But yoga might lead you to taekwondo or what's that stuff you do with your that I keep saying I'm going to do. Let me see what this girl wants. There you go. Tai Chi. I keep saying I'm going to learn Tai Chi because I feel like that is a practice I get to incorporate into my space. I feel like that's so me. Like I feel like I could be like a Tai Chi master. I don't know if that's the thing, but I feel like I could do that. Like I feel like that's my next physical adventure. Yeah, but I think that you try things so that they can lead you to things. Because I didn't start off in yoga. I started off going to pole. You know, I was going to pole classes with my friends, and I loved pole. I had a pole at home. It was awesome, but I was inflexible. So I was like, there's certain things I couldn't do. And so I was like, I looked and I said, I had yogi friends. I was like, let me come to yoga class with you so I get some flexibility. But when I got there, I got stuck. That's where I ended up. That's where I belonged. It wasn't pole at all, even though I think pole is amazing. And when I have a chance, I go to pole classes, but it's not the thing that was supposed to be for me, for my energy. I needed the grounding and the solace that yoga was brought. You know what I mean? That yoga brings. I thought it was like something else, but yeah, we all start off, where you start won't be where you end. Tai Chi, yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, so try anything. You say, wait, you used to do pole dance. Pole dancing. When y'all say pole dancing, there's a part of my program self that like pole dancing. Um, but yeah, technically, yeah, when I had my son, I started pole classes. I would go every week. I used to have a pole in my home. If you go down my videos, there's a one pole video and there might be two. When I was just starting out and I started recording my process. And no, it's really intense. You got to be really strong. Your arms got to be really good. Your core got to be great because you're pulling yourself up and down this pole over and over and over again and doing upside down and going to the side and splits. And it's like, honestly, that shit is hard work. I don't know why people don't get that them women are superstars, but that had me like look at that like in a whole different way. Like I was like, oh my God, you're literally lifting your own body weight every time you get on that thing. And several times because you have to go up and down and up and down. So if you weigh a good amount of weight, you're lifting 150 pounds, 200 pounds, whatever it is, you're lifting it all the time. And yeah, them girls don't get enough credit, man. They don't get enough credit for the work they do because trust me, I was not looking like no superstar. I was looking like somebody who needed help. No, you're not supposed to say that word. You're trying to say it like you're not saying it, but I can hear you. You're not supposed to say that word. You're not supposed to say that word. Okay? We're not going to say that word. You already said. Okay. All right. I love you too. You going to say hi and bye? Hi. You got to cover your mouth, man. Hi and bye. Did you finish your ramen? Bye. No. Okay. Well, I think she's come to demand her attention. Look at that. I do see it. Thank you, Bonafide. Bye. Say thank you. Thank you. Bye. I think that's it. Bye. Say bye, y'all. See y'all later. See you later. I'm trying to hop on tomorrow.